Welcome to Significance Breeds Success. My name is Daniel Puder. I'm the host, and today I have Uzoma Obidike. Now I got that right. That's super challenging for my head. I've been hitting the head when I was a kid. I get it. So I got it. I got that down, right?
Yes, you've got it. Uzoma
Love it.
Obidike, thank you.
Amazing. So I love what you do. You teach women on how to get their careers, how to build something, get their dream job. Like, what was the idea behind the whole entire thing?
Yes. Well, I didn't start off this way. I originally just started off with wanting to help women do bigger and greater things beyond their current day job. But as I began to grow an audience and build a community of women who were seeking to advance in their careers, I began to realize that a lot of them were really struggling to build real relationships. So that's just networking in a nutshell. They were or are currently having a hard time starting conversations with people they don't know. They're not really into going back and reigniting their existing relationships that they kind of have let, die down. And so my role is to step in and say, hey, this is a really important part of your job search process. A lot of people are really focused on going to the job boards, and we know that networking is what gets people jobs. And so I want to help my ideal clients really get there by the power of networking.
So I think that LinkedIn, what's crazy is most people today go on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, but they don't understand the power of LinkedIn. And I find it basic little things. Like, some people are like, oh, I don't have enough money to be a part of a group, or I can't go to that, event because I don't, I can't spend $200 or $500 on a seat at a big charity event. And I'm like, why don't you just volunteer for a nonprofit? Why don't you, serve, with the community? Why don't you do something else besides, the normal of what other people do? You could easily open the right doors to super wealthy people, to the right careers, to the right business owners, with simple steps on, building relationships and serving your community and that sort of thing. What do you see what's going on, and what needs to happen in our culture for the next generation?
Sure. I really believe that a lot of people they see the end result and they think of traditional ways to get to that end result. And they don't realize that it's not a straight line to get to that point. And so, like you mentioned, volunteering for certain things, right? And then that would, by volunteering, you might meet someone who can then open another door for you. And by talking with that person will then connect you to another person who will then open a different door for you. And so it kind of goes up and down, round and round before you actually get to your end goal. So a lot of people don't really realize that it's not a straight line. And two, some people just feel that networking is too hard, or they really don't know how to network. No one really teaches you how to do it. It's a really elusive term. What is networking, right? Is it going to events? Is it speaking or picking up the phone and calling a stranger? Is it talking to someone you know? Well, it can be all of those things and a lot more. And so I think people don't really understand the step-by-step how to actually build real meaningful relationships. And then I would say a third part of that is they don't have a strategy. They don't really understand, okay, now I know what I want to do. Maybe I know how to have the conversations, but what is my strategy? What is it that I'm trying to attain? And then what are the steps that I need to follow to actually get there? So they're not really sure of all the pieces that go together.
Yeah, I love it. And you've done this in the educational space. You've done it for individuals. One thing I find, somebody has like this dream and they're like, I want to become, and I heard Gary Vee talk about this once, I want to become a CEO of a company.
Right.
So I want to build relationships, or I want doors opened, or maybe I want to partner with somebody. But I find that so many people want like that big wig level of, the CEO, the president, that sort of thing, the founder. But what's interesting is they don't have the skill set. They don't have the, maybe the knowledge. They don't have the management ability. They don't have the marketing ability. They don't have those things yet, where if they were to go and work with somebody in the field and build it, then they could learn so much more. Maybe they're a really good number 2 or number 3 guy or girl in an organization. What do you think about, like, with networking? What are the biggest challenges? Because I find that so many people want this big stuff, but they don't have the skill set to get there, or they don't know how to open the right doors and manage those relationships.
I see. Great question. I think for people like that who don't have the right skill set, is people who are in those CEO types of roles or any type of, high level position, they all started from somewhere, right? They all started from zero and then worked their way up. So if you're in a position, if you're listening and you're in a position where you feel that you don't have the credentials or the experience, then start today to start building those things, right? And if you don't know how, definitely start connecting with people who are in those roles. It can be tricky to get access to them, but there are definitely ways. But doing informational interviews is something that I highly recommend to anyone, especially my clients, in terms of actually talking to people who are in similar roles or roles that lead up to that, and find out what are those steps that you need to take, or what were the steps that they took to get to where they are. So that way you can kind of see in your path, what are those things that you can start doing today that will lead you there. You may not get to that CEO position tomorrow or next year. It might take you a few years, but you can start today to begin positioning yourself and preparing yourself for that opportunity when the time is right.
And I see that you do a lot of that with volunteering. I mean, you've volunteered for multiple groups. Why do you spend the time mentoring or being on a board, or, being a part of a student affairs association? I mean, those are all lined with, how do you grow the future? Junior achievements of Chicago. Like, that stuff is amazing what you're up to.
Thank you. Well, I think first things first, when it comes to networking, ideally, as we're looking to grow our careers, we want something out of the networking relationship, right? We want, or even out of the volunteering, we want something to come of it to help us to be better. But I always encourage people to focus on being genuine first. So genuine to others, and then also following the things that you're passionate about. So when I'm doing things like junior achievement or serving on different committees, not only am I doing it to, one, grow my career, but two, these are things that I'm genuinely interested in, right? The people who I'm getting to meet, I really want to connect with them and want to know them. And when you do that, you're going to see more doors open for you versus you doing it out of a place of looking for opportunity, right? Being opportunistic, excuse me. We're all humans. We can really filter out who's being genuine and who's not. And I know for me, if I can tell someone is coming to me just to take advantage, then I put a wall up, right? But if I know that this is something that is pure and that you really want to get to know me and you really are wanting to serve for a particular cause because it's important to you and you want to leave an impact, then things will become to happen organically. So just first being true to your purpose and why you're doing things, and then the benefits will come of that naturally.
So what's your thought about people that go, oh, I'm just going to use, giving back, or I'm going to just be a part of a board, but I'm not going to put the time in. What's your thought on that mindset versus really, and that's why I called this podcast Significance Breeds Success, because being significant in people's lives and really meaning it and showing up, people notice that versus just wanting the success out of those relationships. What's your thought on that, really, that authenticity?
Yeah, I mean, I think if someone is going out there with the intention of, I just want to sign up for things or join organization just so I can start adding to my bio and to say that I have all these accomplishments and did all these things, it's going to backfire, right? I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I already know that you're just not going to get really far, because people are going to see your true colors. They're not going to call you back to partner on something else or a future project because you really haven't pulled your weight. You're only there just to say, hey, I just want to put my name on it or have this stamp, but you haven't done the work. And, our networks, we're all 6 degrees from each other. According to LinkedIn, we're 3 degrees separated from each other. At some point, someone's gonna mention your name, and that's not going to be a good look for you in the long run. And it can definitely hurt your chances for additional opportunities in the future if you don't do the work that you signed up for.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
I'm with you on that. What if somebody comes to you and they know nothing about anything, and they're sitting there and they're like, I need a job, or my question always is to start off like, do you want a job or do you want a career? Because a lot of people are thinking about the money, so it's more of that, like, I need the success versus like I want to put in. And we teach our kids in our school district. For instance, I own a private school district. I'm a partner in one, and we teach our kids. We ask them questions like, if you own a McDonald's, or you own an IT company, or you own a bank, and somebody just comes to you for the money, would you keep them long term if they're there just for the dollars, or would you want people to give back into the company to help the company grow? And it's interesting to figure out like where they're at now versus where they need to be at to be able to achieve the goals that they have. How do you help people in the beginning structure that foundation piece to be able to, if they don't know anything about anything, they're like, I want something, but I don't know how to go earn and make money and do what I love?
For sure. Well, kind of going off with your beginning question in terms of like going after a job versus a career. Like if you're in a space right now where you say, especially with the pandemic and a lot of positions and jobs are being cut, and if you truly just need the income, then I highly recommend getting a bridge job or something that can bring in some income so that you have a roof over your head, right? If you have to pay your rent or mortgage or something like that. For sure. Like that's the only time where I would recommend that you take a job that you don't really love. Well, one of the only times that I would recommend that. But then in the process, then you can start taking your time to find and explore the things that you really want. And if you're currently in a job that is quote unquote secure, because really no job is safe and secure, but if you feel like your job is secure right now and there's no threat to you being terminated, or you don't feel like you are rushing to leave tomorrow, then use this time right now to really begin to build out that strategy, that plan, right? For whatever it is that you want to do, because your dream job is out there, your dream career is out there, and it may not be at a specific organization. And I highly recommend against that, because you might like a company because, let's say, I don't know, Apple or something like that, because you just like the name of that company and what it stands for. But there are reasons why you like that. Is it because of the values that the company portrays or that they show? Is it because there's flexibility, right? Is it because of the salary? So figuring out those things that are non-negotiable for you in your next career. What are the things that you enjoy about your job now? And put that on your wish list. And then the things that you don't enjoy, then don't look for jobs that have those things. Even if you're really good at it, right? You might be really good at doing budgets, really good, but you actually hate doing it, then don't look for a job that requires you to do budgets if that's not something that you're passionate about or you don't care to do anymore. And once you figured out all of those areas that make sense for you, that package itself is what I would consider your overall dream job. And that can be in any industry. And you can always transfer those skills, and I call it, into your personal brand, where you can package that and then market yourself for those types of opportunities. So I hope I answered your question. But that's kind of how I would do that in terms of going after your dream roles.
So you help them recognize the core foundation of like, what do they want? Do you want a 9 to 5? Do you want a midnight shift? Do you want something long-term? Do you want something short-term? I find there's something always behind a job. Somebody wants to do it for a certain reason, whether it's, do you find more people want to do it for like the money or the happiness? What do you see out there today?
It varies. It's a great question. It varies. And I do a lot of questions. I have a Facebook community that I post questions like that. Like, would you rather take a job that has more pay or that you have more time off? And the answers have varied, right? So fulfillment, things like that. I think it really just depends on where somebody is in their career, especially like for women, right? And being mothers and having children. Things are definitely different for women versus men, in my opinion, in terms of child rearing and who is more, not I wouldn't generalize, but from my experience, in terms of who is more hands-on or who feels like they have to spend more time at home. And so there are certain chapters in a woman's career where they might feel like they have to step back for a little bit. And I'm a perfect example. I have a 3-month-old, and in this journey of trying to have a child, I have decided that I want to pull back my career, right? In terms of, there were times where I was reaching for the stars and I wanted to get in some of these super higher level roles, but that's not my dream anymore, at least not right now in this season of life. And that's okay with me. And